Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. And I am so honored and pleased today to introduce you to my special guest, Ann Boardman. And Ann, welcome.
Thank you.
Ann actually joined me on the very first episode of the VeryVera Show 5 years ago and was on my board of directors and has probably been on many boards in the Augusta area, has served on many community events. She's a woman of distinction, and if you want to get something done in the Augusta area, you want to make sure that Ann Boardman is on board because she really gets it done. So, you know, Ann, when I was thinking back to what we did that very first season, we did recipes that I had actually done when I catered for you and your home. She actually helped get my catering business off the ground. So I thought today we would do something fun together and experiment with Blue Apron.
Yay.
You said you've been dying to do it, that your son Clay uses it all the time. So we had this shipped, and we're gonna open the box right here together on the air. And, you know, as a mail order person for all of those years, I will have to tell you that just the packaging, you know, with every little thing there to look at. So I'm gonna let you start looking through all of the material. It is just amazing. When you order from Blue Apron, Ann, you get to choose 3 meals to do for the week. And, you know, you had said you did a little bit of research on this prior to us coming on the air about the cost of this.
It's so moderate for what you get. And then you don't have any leftovers.
Absolutely. So just unpackaging this and starting to look.
Beautiful.
This box has 3 different recipes in it for the week. And it's like you've gotten a gift from, you know, from Saks or Neiman Marcus. It's so well put together. But today we're going to actually do a crispy catfish with yellow curry and a great bird's eye chili sauce. I mean, look how fresh that is, Ann.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, it is just amazing to me. So, you know, in terms of how everything is stone cold right this minute. Just look how fresh all of those greens look. So to me, part of what makes this attractive with you, living in a retirement community, Brandon Wild, right here in the Augusta area, you have the option to eat some of your meals in the dining hall, but y'all, this woman historically has been one of the best cooks I know. So you actually love to cook your own food still. Yeah. So, you know, not, like you said, not having leftovers, not having things that, you know, if it's gonna call for chives and you're not gonna use, I know, isn't that precious? Yeah. You're not gonna use chives for anything else you're doing this week. I mean, look at that. Perfect. Is that the perfect pair?
Perfect.
You know, you don't have leftovers. And then it gives you the opportunity to kind of have a little chef moment in the kitchen. You know, we all get in a rut about what's for dinner. I mean, the little pot, one of the recipes for this one is a quiche. So you've got every little thing labeled and nothing is left to the imagination in terms of what you're going to use. So for this recipe, we're going to be using the kale and what else?
And the lime.
And the lime. And we've got the catfish here.
Well, not the rice.
Yeah, I bet it's up under here. Yep, there it is.
Oh,
the
beautiful.
Catfish. So one of the things that you get with this, you know, like I said, if you are a novice in the kitchen and you've been, you know, you watch the show all the time, and I love to be educational and inviting to looking at our recipes online, but it literally tells you every little thing that you need to do with pictures. So we're gonna get this all separated out by recipes, and when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the crispy catfish, which is so amazing, and continue to learn about Blue Apron and how it's easy and effective, not only for your budget, but also to bring that interest in cooking back to the kitchen. So I'm so glad you're with me. We're gonna have a great time. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're just joining me, I'm with my good friend Ann Boardman, who is a lifelong Augusta resident. And certainly you have been such a mentor and such a great friend to me over the years. If you missed me saying she was my very first guest on the VeryVera show 5 years ago. So we're doing Blue Apron today. And, you know, it's just been a great thing to do.
Where did you hear about Blue Apron?
Well, the girl that cuts my hair, Robin Kelly at Trends, and I love my haircut, she had to actually change her diet recently, and she was so depressed, didn't know what she was going to do, and somebody recommended this to her. So calorically and nutritionally and everything else, it has been the perfect thing. I'll get pictures all the time from her of food that she's prepared. So Robin tipped me off, and I am really loving this concept. So what we're doing first today is the crispy catfish, and as you saw when we unpackaged everything, everything is prepackaged, everything is labeled, there's no waste, and you love that. It's very cost effective. So I'm going to get started on zesting the rest of this lime, and then we've got all kinds of different things that we're doing here. This recipe has rice and kale. There's a coconut milk sauce that goes in it, all kinds of things. So I'm going to give the lime to you to quarter, and then you're going to be putting that in the rice in just a few minutes. The ginger, Ann, that they gave me was just the right amount. All I had to do was peel it, and now I'm just going to finish getting the mincing done on there. And like I told you, these wolf knives,
they're wonderful.
Aren't they fantastic? So sharp. But they're lime, you have just enough to use not only in the dish, but also to garnish. So they've really thought of everything. Can you smell that?
It's wonderful.
I mean, it's just,
so fragrant.
You know, and when you think about what this is doing in terms of giving you options, most of the time you would be pulling out that ground ginger out of the cabinet. So this,
and you would buy too much.
You would, so it's just perfect. All right, so now we've got a little tip on the kale. You're gonna take the stem off of that, and one of the things that's so nice about this website is that they do instructional videos, like through the process of looking at the recipe card and learning how to make the recipe and do all the different steps. They've taught us, and we watched the video together, how to take the leaves off of the kale. And then I'm gonna start chopping it up. And because this is being cooked, all I want is just a real, a rough chop on that. All right, so now you are gonna mix up this coconut milk powder with the water. Look at that, I mean, the packaging. You know, being in the mail order business for 30 years and having all the things that went out at VeryVera with the casseroles that had to be frozen and the, you know, the cakes that had to be fresh, let's see. You know, it was very interesting to learn the process of how to get it there in great condition. And this was another thing that I thought was so interesting, is the dehydrated milk. You know, Ann, you and I have had thrifty conversations for years about how to save money. And I remember my mother used to mix a powdered milk with the whole milk so she could save with the 5 children on that cost. Okay, so you're gonna mix that. We're gonna put the lime into the rice, and then the catfish. Look how beautifully packaged that is.
Isn't that pretty?
And it is so fresh. Just these fillets are amazing. So all you're gonna do to this is get it good and patted dry, because we're gonna fry this up, and the drier the meat is, the better crispy crunch you get on the outside. So come back with us in just a few minutes in Vera's Corner today. I'm also gonna give you a couple of tips on the slow cooker and how to make another great meal. So come back with us in just a few minutes.
Vera's Corner is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Today I'm going to show you a trick for preparing 2 meals at once in your slow cooker. We're going to do 2 pork tenderloin recipes from my good friend Cynthia Graubart's book, Slow Cooking for 2. Start off by generously seasoning your tenderloins with salt, and pepper. Place each tenderloin into its own slow cooker bag. Place the first tenderloin into the slow cooker and then add the flavorings to the tenderloin. Add the second tenderloin to the slow cooker and add those flavorings to that tenderloin recipe as well. Fold over the slow cooker bags over the edge and then put the lid on tightly. Cook for 6 hours on low and then remove to rest for a few minutes. Enjoy! Welcome back, everybody, and hopefully you have had the opportunity to get to know Ann today. And I'm having so much fun doing this with you. Blue Apron is really answering a lot of things in terms of my lifestyle, your lifestyle now, cooking for not a whole family of 4 children like you used to years ago. And, you know, the thing about it, when it comes, everything that you need is there. All of the ingredients are measured out. So we're going to get started cooking the catfish. You know, just look how fresh and beautiful that those fillets look. So I'm going to turn the heat up here so it can start getting a little bit warm. But what I'm using today to cook the catfish is a pecan oil that is Pecan Ridge out of Bainbridge, Georgia. And this is a great oil to use for frying. It has a high smoking point. It has a nutty, buttery flavor and just really works great for frying. So I highly recommend that you look into that to try when you're cooking fried foods on your cooktop. All right, so I'm gonna season my catfish with a little bit of kosher salt and just a little bit of that, and then some coarsely ground pepper. The other thing that is really nice about the Blue Apron recipes is it gives you all the nutrition facts, Ann. You can look at that and see that this meal has less than 700 calories. So we're going to only dredge one side of this fish in the rice flour. So I'm going to put that down in the rice flour, go ahead and put a little bit more salt and pepper on one side. I'm gonna boost this up. And the rice flour gives you that really, really crisp outside coating. Now, part of me wants to flip it on both sides, but I'm gonna do just what the recipe says. And then I'm gonna let you get started on the curry part that has the kale. Let's drop this down in the pan. And here again, Ann, my new cooktop just gets hot really quickly. Okay, so now what have you got there?
This is the
curry paste.
Curry paste, and then this is ginger, chopped up fine ginger.
And then you're gonna add the kale to that. And you know, kale has so many nutrients. It's almost the perfect food. And we were laughing, you know, a few minutes ago that we didn't grow up eating kale, so it's kind of the new food. All right, so I'm gonna get started on putting the other fillet in there. So you want the side that you're putting in the rice flour to be the presentation side. But look how fresh, this fish doesn't even smell, it doesn't even smell fishy. I'm loving it. You know, in terms of, you know, how this applies to people that have never really spent that much time in the kitchen, the recipe cards are so
detailed.
I mean, every little step is pictured, the instructional videos on their website, but everything you need to know to do this. If you've got a young person that's really wanting to get more involved in the kitchen, this would be a great introduction to them to learn how to have all of your ingredients out. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit more for you to get that going. And now we're adding the coconut milk to that. And I'm gonna actually also put a little bit of that lime that you cut up so perfectly with that sharp knife.
Oh, and I love these pans. Wonderful.
Aren't they great? And you know, the combination of these flavors that you wouldn't generally even think about. I mean, when was the last time you bought curry paste, for heaven's sake? And you know, like we talked about, when you have these ingredients that you know you're not going to use again, they've given you just what you need to do it. Okay, the other neat thing is the sauce that we're going to put on in the presentation point. So I've got a coconut sugar, coconut palm sugar. I've got ponzu sauce, which is
you would never buy.
no, and it's like soy sauce, so I love that. And then I'm going to use this lime again and mix that up. And then, you know, if they ever don't have an ingredient, they also say, "Dear chef, we get our things from local farms and we're out of this, but we substituted that." Is that awesome? Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, keep cooking, and when we come back from the break, we're gonna lay it all out. We've got a beautiful presentation, and we're gonna let Ann taste some of this delicious food from Blue Apron. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Well, these two gray-haired ladies have had quite a fun time learning about something that's brand new out there. Why didn't they have this when we were raising children? So,
we couldn't have afforded it. Even though it's very moderate in price.
You know, and that's the thing, Ann, if you get 3 meals in the box, the box comes out to about $60, so it's less than $10 a serving for what we're getting ready to plate up. So we finished by getting the catfish finished, and look how it fried up, so pretty.
Beautiful.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put one of the fillets on top of this bed of rice with the lime zest. And we're using a pasta bowl technique as the situation. And then this is the curry and kale that we're just gonna go on either side with that. Isn't that pretty? And you know, honestly, this is quite, let's put a little bit more on that side. All right, then I'm gonna swap it out. We'll do this one. I love that. Okay, this other filet. And you know, one of the things that you can do when you're getting ready to plate is you can have that sauce on simmer, which I did, and then I could put the fish in the warming drawer. So learning how to logistically manage getting the meal on the table hot is always, you know, kind of a challenge, but this really makes it easy. All right, so now we can maybe squeeze a little bit of lime on that, Ann, and then we've got some little pieces of the red bird's eye chili that'll of course make it a little bit spicy. And then the sauce that we made with the ponzu, which is a little like soy, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that on there too. So just look, that is quite a meal. I mean, that would fill me up.
For $9.99.
For $9.99, unbelievable. So looking at the whole component here, you know, when you think about planning, they also give you wine accompaniment choices when you place your order, and you can either do that and include that in the box, but you know, we always like to bring back our fresh market friends into the picture, and you know, they have such a great selection at very affordable prices. And then we didn't do dessert today, and one of the reasons it's, you know, it's for two. So in their little deli bakery, they're always just precious little petite desserts that you can slice up and have. When you're doing something in a bowl, as you know, you always want to have a spoon as one of your choices for serving, because sometimes it's a little bit easier to eat with a spoon than a fork. So I would love for you to just snip a little end of that off.
I would love to.
You know, because as we do this on the show, a lot of times we feel like it's a great way to introduce people that maybe are afraid to cook, maybe are afraid to try new ingredients, new recipes. Isn't that yummy? I think it's so great. And so, you know, give Blue Apron a try. If you're not familiar with them, go to the website, look for the information, and, you know, see how affordable it can be. You have lots of choices. You know.
On that kale is wonderful.
Isn't that good? And it just, you know, you've got a green, you've got the white, you've got the crispy, and you know, like I said, I almost wanted to cheat and flour both sides, but the caloric content, under 700 calories. And I mentioned my hairdresser, Robin Kelly, you know, she had a health issue that had to get her away from cooking with so much salt, you know, the bacon drippings, the things like that. And so this was a perfect thing
It
for
is,
her
perfect
to
solution.
have to learn how to cook again. So I want you to take the other 2 meals that were in the box.
Ooh.
I want you to take those.
Oh,
Show
thank you,
all
thank
your
you.
girlfriends at Brandon Wild your new way of cooking, which
Okay.
will be a lot of fun. And for those of you out there, I want to remind you that always remember to tune in to the Very Vera show, because we always are doing things different. And no matter what you do it in good taste. I've got great taste in friends and now a great taste in a new way to cook.
Good.
So come back and join us next week for another episode of the Very Vera show.
It was fun.